This is the top 15 greatest villains in Dragon Ball history. Let's dive in.
Not every villain got the spotlight. Not every name echoed across galaxies. Some were whispers. Some were shadows. But ask any OG Dragon Ball fan and they'll tell you there was one that hit different. He wasn't canon. He didn't need to be. Before Resurrection F, before Frieza's golden glow blinded the next generation, there was someone colder, smarter, crueler. His brother, Cooler. Frieza wanted control. Cooler, he wanted extinction. Where Frieza raged with pride, Cooler struck with silence. He didn't kill to prove a point. He killed because he believed mercy was weakness. And Goku, he was mercy. Cooler didn't wait. He tracked Goku across galaxies, hunted him like prey. And when they clashed on New Namek, Goku barely made it out, forced to summon one of the most desperate spirit bombs he's ever thrown. But death didn't stop him. Thanks to the big Gidi star, Cooler came back, not as one, but as thousands. Metal shells, no soul, no mercy. Metacooler wasn't just stronger, he was endless. Even Goku and Vegeta, together, couldn't wipe them all out. And when the dust settled, it didn't feel like a win. Cooler never made it into canon, but real fans, we remember. He didn't monologue. He didn't transform 5 times. He just showed up and made you sweat. Cooler may live in his brother's shadow, but legends know he wasn't just a side character. He was a warning. That's why Cooler starts our list at number 15. Cooler was a warning, but he wasn't the only one born from rage. Some villains didn't want power, didn't care about ruling planets. They were made from something darker. Before the gods, before Ultra Instinct, there was a villain fueled by pure vengeance. Hachiak, a being not born from strength, but from pain. When the Saiyans wiped the Tuffles out in cold, ruthless genocide, one scientist, Dr. Raichi, did something unthinkable. He uploaded his soul into a machine, and from that hatred, Hachiak was born. Unlike most villains who want to conquer, Hachiak didn't want anything. He was a living grudge, a spirit of every scream, every death, every child's silence in the Tuffle massacre. He wasn't here to rule. He came to erase. In a lost OVA most fans never even saw, Hachiak appeared and straight up overwhelmed Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Trunks, and Piccolo all at once. If you've never seen that OVA, you're missing one of Dragon Ball's darkest fights. Seriously, go find it. You'll never look at Saiyan history the same way again. His psychic powers made him nearly untouchable. His blasts rivaled peak Super Saiyans. But what made him terrifying was how inevitable he felt. Hachiak wasn't evil. He was pain given purpose. Hatred turned into a weapon. No schemes, no speeches, just centuries of suffering striking back. And when Goku ended it all with one final united blast, it didn't feel like justice. It felt like laying a ghost to rest. Hachi didn't want to be a monster. The Saiyans made him one. He might be forgotten by most fans, but real ones remember.
Not every villain starts out chasing power. Some are just tools, built to serve. And when they break, the fallout is terrifying. That's what makes Gas different. He was never the leader, never the voice, just the muscle, the enforcer of the Heater Force. But by the time the Granola arc ended, he was standing toe-to-toe with Goku and Vegeta, not because he trained, not because he evolved, but because of a wish. Alec, his older brother, used the Dragon Balls, not to save Gas, but to turn him into the strongest mortal in Universe 7. No build-up, no warning, just raw, unnatural power, injected into a body that couldn't handle it. Gas got stronger, fast, too fast. He aged by the second, skin cracking, bones snapping, but he kept fighting anyway. He wasn't driven by pride or anger. He didn't even hate Goku. He just followed orders, because that's all he ever knew. He summoned weapons from thin air, blades, gravity fields, whatever the moment needed, he had it. And for a minute, he overwhelmed both Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego at the same time. But here's a question for you. Did you even see this arc? A lot of fans missed it because it's only in the manga. So let me ask, are you following the manga? If not, should I start covering the future arcs and videos? Smash that like button and drop a comment, because trust me, what's coming next is crazy. Back to Gas. His story isn't about being evil. It's about being used. He fought past his limits, past the pain, all for a brother who saw him as nothing more than a weapon. And when it was over, there were no speeches, no redemption, just a broken fighter who never really had a say in his own story. That's why Gas takes our number 13 spot. Not because he wanted to destroy the world, but because someone else did, and he paid the price.
So now, after Gas, we have Omega Shenron. He wasn't made in a lab. He wasn't born on some alien world. He came from us. From the Dragon Balls themselves. Those same mystical orbs that saved Earth over and over, they weren't free. Every selfish wish, every shortcut through death, every miracle the Z-Fighters pulled from thin air, it all left a stain. That darkness built up, and from it,
came the Shadow Dragons. At the top of that twisted chain was Omega Shenron. He wasn't just another endgame villain. He was Wrath incarnate, built from our own greed. He mocked the Spirit Bomb, shrugged off the biggest attacks, made Goku bleed, and dared the heroes to admit maybe they were the problem. The Dragon Balls weren't a blessing, they were the bill. And Omega Shenron came to collect. He absorbed all the Shadow Dragons, ice, lightning, poison, chaos. He turned their powers into his own arsenal. Even the Universal Spirit Bomb, meant to erase evil itself, barely scratched him. Because Omega wasn't just strong. He wasn't meant to be beaten easy. He was karma, a cosmic invoice, the final line on Earth's tab. And for once, Goku wasn't the savior. He was the apology. Omega Shenron wasn't just the end of Dragon Ball GT. He was the moment the show looked in the mirror and asked if its own power came at too high a price. And that's why Omega Shenron lands at number 12 on our list. Not just a villain, a reckoning.
The Tuffles. Wiped out by the Saiyans, erased from history. But one survivor didn't stay dead. He waited in silence, in science, in hate. Baby wasn't here to destroy Goku. He was here to rewrite the bloodline from the inside. That's until it's already over.
So now we are entering in top 10 villains of all time, and on number 10 we got the one who wasn't perfect, who wasn't elegant, who was chaos in a body, Cell Max. Born from the wreckage of Dr. Giro's legacy, fueled by rage, barely restrained by science, Cell Max wasn't some genius tactician. He was a detonator, a biological bomb, a god killer on autopilot. No speeches, no smug pride, just screams and devastation. Unlike the original Cell, this one didn't play games. He wasn't here to test Gohan. He was here to end him. Dragon Ball Super Superhero didn't give him much screen time, but it gave him impact. Piccolo had to evolve, Gohan had to awaken, not because it was destiny, but because there was no other choice. Beast Gohan wasn't born in triumph. He was forced into existence because Cell Max pushed too far. And that's the thing. Cell Max wasn't designed to win. He was designed to break the system, to test what happens when power outgrows purpose. He didn't teach us a lesson. He was the lesson. Family, legacy, pressure that explodes into evolution. Cell Max wasn't a villain with a plan. He was the reason plans stopped working. Sometimes it only takes one monster to remind a hero who they really are. And at number 9, we got the God of Destruction, BEERUS. And before BEERUS, Frieza was the ceiling, the untouchable force, the king of fear. But that illusion shattered when a sleeping god opened his eyes. BEERUS wasn't evil. He didn't monologue, didn't conquer for fun. He simply erased, effortlessly. Entire civilizations gone over a poorly cooked dish. Planets wiped out because dessert wasn't shared. No screaming, no mercy, just divine judgment. But under that cruelty was a strange kind of order. BEERUS wasn't chaos. He was balance. Destruction wasn't rage. It was maintenance. A terrifying version of doing your job. And when he met Goku, reborn as a Super Saiyan god, it felt like the universe held its breath. BEERUS didn't break a sweat. That whole fight, just a warm-up. A god, sparring with potential. Goku gave everything, and BEERUS yawned. But here's why BEERUS mattered more than any punch he threw. He changed the game. Before BEERUS, Dragon Ball was a story of power. After BEERUS, it became a story of divinity. Through him, we met Whis, saw the angels, learned of Zeno, and realized Frieza wasn't the top of the food chain. He was barely in the ecosystem. BEERUS opened a door to a multiverse so vast, even Goku seemed small. He wasn't a villain. He was a force, a presence. And depending on your view, it's maybe the most honest god Dragon Ball's ever shown. Not because he destroyed worlds, but because he made ours bigger. That's why BEERUS holds the number 9 spot on our list.
And now on number 8, overtaking a god. There was a doctor, and his revenge was mechanical. Dr. Gero wasn't an alien, wasn't a god, he was human. And that's what made him dangerous, because obsession, when left unchecked, becomes something colder than evil. It becomes purpose. After Goku shattered the Red Ribbon Army, Jiro didn't scream. He vanished. And in the shadows, he built revenge. When he came back, he didn't come alone. Android 17, Android 18. No Kai signature, no warning, just power. Ruthless, calculated, inhuman. In Trunks' timeline, they didn't just fight the Z fighters, they erased them. And Garo? He wasn't done. He built Android 19, turned himself into 20, and left behind his most twisted creation, Cell, a being built from the DNA of Earth's strongest, programmed to kill, and travel time to finish the job. These weren't demons. They weren't cosmic beings. They were machines, made by a man who couldn't let go. Jiro's genius could have saved humanity. Instead, it nearly wiped it out. Even in death, his work kept coming, kept killing, kept evolving. Because sometimes the scariest villain isn't the one from space. It's the one we made ourselves. Jiro wasn't loud. He wasn't flashy, but his creations changed everything. That's why Dr. Jiro and the androids hold the number 8 spot on our list. Proof that the worst monsters are man-made. So on the number 6, we got the Consumer of Worlds. A sorcerer so ancient, even the Kaioshians feared him. Locked away for 10 million years, he once drained planets dry with a whisper. His power didn't come from muscle. It came from magic, from fear, from the life force of entire civilizations. When Moro escaped galactic prison in Dragon Ball Super's manga, he didn't just want power, he wanted revenge on the universe that sealed him. He humiliated Goku, devoured Namek, turned Majin Buu into a useless blob. He even nearly killed Maris, an angel in disguise. Every time they thought he was finished, he evolved. More ancient spells, more stolen energy, more monstrous transformations. And just when Goku finally landed a killing blow, Moro fused with the Earth itself. He became the planet. If Goku killed him, the world would die with him. That level of psychological warfare, next level. And when Goku finally activated perfected Ultra Instinct, even the gods were watching. Moro wasn't flashy, he wasn't iconic, but he was terrifying because he outsmarted everyone. A demon of inevitability, the villain that made even angels sweat. And that's why Moro devours his way into number 6. And now on 5, we get Jiren. He didn't want to rule the universe. He didn't want revenge. He didn't even care about destruction. He wanted one thing, power. Enough power to ensure he'd never feel helpless again. As a child, Jiren watched his family slaughtered, abandoned by his master, left broken, alone. He trained in silence until no god, no angel, no mortal could touch him. When the Tournament of Power began, Jiren wasn't just strong, he was the strongest mortal ever measured. He blocked Goku's Kamehameha with his eyes. He knocked Vegeta out with a single punch. And even when Goku awakened Ultra Instinct, Jiren still stood tall. But Jiren wasn't heartless. He believed strength was justice, because people had failed him, but power never did. And that's what made him tragic. He wasn't evil, he was broken. And when Goku, Frieza, and 17 finally knocked him off the stage, Jiren didn't hate them. He looked at Goku and nodded. That silent nod, that was Jiren's redemption arc. He never became a villain, but he was the ultimate test of Goku's philosophy. And for that, Jiren punches his way into number 5. And now on number 4, we got the one who didn't speak. He didn't monologue, he just laughed and destroyed. Kid Buu is evil in its rawest form. No ambition, no logic, just chaos. He was the original Buu, born from pure cosmic malice, created millions of years ago. He annihilated galaxies like playthings, wiped out the Kaioshian realm without blinking. Even Supreme Kais couldn't stop him. He absorbed gods, split himself, reformed again and again, until what was left was this pink, bouncing demon child, smiling as planets died. When he appeared on Earth, he destroyed it in seconds. Goku and Vegeta at full power couldn't stop him. It took fusion. It took a spirit bomb made from every soul in the universe just to erase him. And even as he died, he laughed. Because Kid Buu didn't care about winning. He existed to end everything. He wasn't the strongest, but he was the most unstoppable. No strategy, no hesitation, just destruction. And in that chaos, Kid Buu earns his place as the number 4 greatest villain in Dragon Ball history. And we are entering in top 3, so some villains destroy worlds, some crave power, but Zamasu? He craved purity through annihilation. A Kai in training who saw mortals as mistakes. Zamasu believed the gods were weak for letting them exist, so he did what no god had done before. He stole Goku's body, became Goku Black, a twisted mockery of everything Goku stood for. Smiling, cruel, righteous, but that wasn't enough. He fused with himself, fused Zamasu, god and mortal, twisted into one. He didn't just want to rule the universe, he wanted to erase it. He launched the Zero Mortals plan, a divine cleansing across time itself. And he nearly won. Even Goku, Vegeta, and future Trunks, with everything they had, couldn't kill him. Not fully. His spirit infected reality, warped the sky, melted space, until Zeno, the king of everything, had to erase an entire timeline just to stop him. That's how far Zamasu's madness reached. He wasn't just a villain, he was a cosmic virus, wearing Goku's face. And fans still debate, was he evil, or the most terrifying version of divine justice? Either way, Zamasu and Goku Black stand tall at number 3 on our list of Dragon Ball's greatest villains. And now on number 2 is the one who is born from science, refined through blood, perfected through terror. Cell wasn't just built to destroy, he was built to be unstoppable. Crafted by Dr. Gero's supercomputer, Cell was the ultimate predator, designed with DNA from Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, even King Cold. But he didn't start strong, he started lurking, absorbing civilians, growing stronger, silent, patient, until he found 17 and 18. With each absorption he evolved, from a grotesque insect to a smug monster to perfect Cell, a god with a smile. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to prove he was better. He built an arena, set a date, and challenged Earth's mightiest on live television. And what followed was one of Dragon Ball's most iconic sagas, Goku's sacrifice, Gohan's rage, the birth of Super Saiyan 2. Even after self-destruction, Cell regenerated, stronger, faster, deadlier, because in his cells was the will to never die. Cell wasn't just a villain, he was a mirror of Saiyan pride, of human fear, of what happens when perfection becomes obsession. And for that, Cell earns the number 2 spot on our list. And now, the final name, the undisputed king of evil. A villain so iconic, his shadow looms over the entire franchise. Number 1 is Frieza. He's not just a villain, he's the villain, the one who changed everything. Before gods, before Ultra Instinct, there was Frieza, the galactic tyrant who wiped out the Saiyan race with a smile. Frieza ruled through fear, cruelty, domination. He didn't just destroy planets, he destroyed bloodlines. He shattered legacies. Goku's origin, fueled by Frieza, Vegeta's trauma, molded by Frieza, Gohan's awakening, Krillin's death, Piccolo's sacrifice, all burned into history by Frieza. And just when you thought he was gone, he came back again and again, stronger, smarter. With Golden Frieza, he challenged the gods. In the Tournament of Power, he helped win the fate of Universe 7. And now he's Black Frieza, a being so powerful. Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta couldn't touch him. No one stays relevant longer. No one redefines evil better. Frieza is the past, the present, and the future of Dragon Ball Terror. The Emperor, the Ender of Worlds, the one name that always returns. Frieza, number 1, forever.